जिसको भी कोई सवाल पूछना है आप अपना हैंड रेज कर सकते हैं या अनम्यूट करके अपना नाम बोल के सवाल पूछ सकते हैं एंड we'll start taking your questions. George, you have something to say?
Yeah, Shruti, I just wanted to say it was fascinating to listen to the two ladies speaking about their cooking experiences and so many very interesting tips. And Shruti, I was just thinking that, iWay being a knowledge resource on living life with blindness,
Yeah.
if we could actually ask Payal if we could actually link these Rasoi Ke Rahasya audios and videos on iWay as well, because I think a lot of people do visit us on iWay.org.in.
Mhm.
And it would be another way, another platform from where her experience and tips and magic can be kind of shared with people.
Sure. Yeah, sounds good. That sounds like a plan. Yes, it sounds interesting considering you have an existing database from all over. And I think as many people as it can be reached is those many more people in the fray. So
yeah, and as people call our helpline 1-800-532-0469 from different parts of the country, I would encourage our help desk counselors also to remember if there are people calling in for cooking help, then or kitchen help, then I think they have a couple of resources right now on the show whom they could direct people to. So I think that will be fantastic. And I think your presence today has enriched the iWay experience and the possibility of iWay also reaching out to far more people. And it's good to see so many ladies on the show.
Yes, George. Yes.
So we need to think of more topics where we can invite the two of you on board again.
I guess that there are so many aspects.
Or you should start cooking now. At least you should get inspired.
I make decent scrambled eggs and coffee.
When are you inviting us?
Anytime, once the COVID allows you to travel, please do come.
Anisha, I believe you have a question. Please go ahead, Anisha.
Yeah, hi everyone. Hi Preeti, hi Payal, Anisha here. So I'm also a person with low vision and it's a pleasure listening to you both. It's just lovely the way you have just started and the way you shared all your experiences. So I just had one simple question: that have you discovered any new recipes while playing around in the creating magic in the kitchen? Any new recipes that you have come across yourself?
Yes,
it happens. It happens. I think to everybody.
अपने आप हो जाती हैं. Like I shared a recipe on the time-friendly cooking group, and I had to give it a name because I just was in a mad rush and I was going to have my children over for dinner and I had to do some marinating. So I just dumped whatever I could find and the chicken came out so supreme. So it was called Dahi Chutney Chicken.
Oh, wow.
So these things I think just happen to all of us, not to just me and Payal. I think everybody just comes up when you're doing enough cooking. I think a lot of recipes keep coming up. And
it happens all the time because there are times that you're making do with what is available. There are other times that you don't like what is available and you want something else. So it's a matter of understanding what is in your refrigerator, what is in your pantry, and just start mixing things and keep dipping and tasting. That's my answer to everything.
Exactly. If you like eating a good dish or a good meal, I think you are there in the making of a good, a good cook.
Yeah, great. And like most of your cookings are done on fire or mostly in oven. So that's another big question.
Normal gas.
Totally? Okay.
Only gas stove. Oven, I particularly don't use too much of an oven. Because one thing at the moment, I don't have an OTG. My microwave doesn't bake, and I do everything on the gas.
Oh, okay.
I
must all right. Thank you so much.
I must tell listeners that Preeti makes very good chicken. I've had it.
Yeah, I'm just hoping that that recipe that Preeti mentioned must be in her YouTube channel also.
Put it on my YouTube channel. It's on one of the WhatsApp groups.
And Preeti, what he's not saying is that he said he lived to tell the tale, okay? Just by the
he
way.
lived to, oh, he's being very decent. George has forgotten my biryani, right, George?
No, me, my wife, and my daughters, they came. We had the biryani, and we're still standing. and speaking about it.
Yes, I know.
Like you said, Preeti, as long as you don't kill anyone, it's fine.
Yeah, absolutely.
So,
And that's fantastic.
there's a question on our comment on our chat from Lakshmi saying she's been learning cooking from last 2 months. It would be great help if any of you can share tips to flip an omelette or a chapati on pan while cooking.
Chapati, you just need to pick it up and flip it with your fingers. Your fingers will get used to the hot chapati because that's the best way to do it. And especially for a visually impaired person, always get your hands, used to that heat. It may burn for some few weeks, months, but it's good to get your hands, more you use your hands and suffer a little bit of high heat on your hands.
It's called seasoning the hands. It's called seasoning. Just like you season everything else, you season your hands basically.
Yes.
Doesn't mean you put your hands on the tawa, please. Don't do anything like that.
Absolutely not.
But little by little, yes, you need to start exposing your hands to little bits of heat and support your finger with maybe a pair of tongs or something else that you can hold it with. Do one finger on the chapati and the other hand hold a pair of tongs. So you can, slowly start, when your hand starts getting used to bearing a little bit of heat, you'll get confident and things will start getting better for you, for sure.
I would like to share here because I like to use I make excellent stuffed parathas and I make very good parathas. And I do not like too much oil on it. So I apply the oil on the parathas with my fingers, directly on the parathas. And they're not burning now. I mean, they might have burned sometime, but just touch it a little and take it back. So now I just apply with my fingers. So your hands, your skin gets used to cooking. If you start cooking and you're not scared of it, a little bit burned, I think.
And it's a little tougher in the summer. It's a little tougher in the summer because it's as it is so hot. And it's a little difficult in the summer, but during the rains, I mean, if you want to really experiment with things when the weather's slightly cooler, if you think the heat is too much in the summer, then go slow. And when the weather changes, do it then.
Yeah, slow and steady and continue. And if you actually feel the heat too much, go to the freezer and stick your hand there, come back and get on with it. These are things that I think my mother, my grandmothers, if we squirmed a little bit, there was a little blister on my arm or my hand, or I burnt, I would make a face that, I would get let off. But they would just say that you've got such a big body on one little drop. What are you crying about? Come, get back. So it is just a motivation, we need to, because when you're not able to see, I feel more comfortable using my hands on most of the things.
Yeah, like you said that everyone discovers their own way, right?
Yes.
In a way, once you try. So trying is a must. So Payal, we have a message for you on Facebook from Madhvi Chandra. I'm quickly going to read it out. She says, developing resilience and fighting your fears is so important for all children. Payal Kapoor, you truly are an eloquent orator. You make me want to run to the kitchen and chop some vegetables. I'm going to go to a few more questions. We have some hands up. Darshana, would you like to ask a question?
Yes. Hi, this is Darshana from Team Highway. I'm really glad to hear all experience of both of yours. I have a few common questions which probably discuss among visually impaired girls. So one is about deep frying, like how do you manage deep frying? And second is about symmetry of vegetables, like what you discuss about symmetry. So would you please brief more about it?
Preeti is the deep frying queen. Preeti, that one's for you.
Okay, so deep frying, we try to copy everything that sighted people do. So let's step away again, make our own space. What I do when I have to do a deep frying myself, I take a larger kadhai. Kadhai, I think, is a common word that is in everybody's common deep frying utensil, which is in every kitchen. So use a slightly bigger kadhai, fill it half with oil. You'll have to use a little more oil than, let's not be stingy and try to save oil. So once you have, it should be half full so that you still have that half top space remaining, which has not got oil in it.
Mhm.
And once the oil is heated, you will feel and you will also smell the difference. You will smell the smoke. So it will start smoking. It comes to a smoking consistency. Temperature, and then you can smell the smoke, as well as if you put your hand over the kadai high up, you will feel the intensity coming up. So once that is done, the gas should go on medium, and then you can slowly lower. Suppose you want to cook a puri, or you want to make a pakoda, or you want to do any of these things. Take your hand to the edge of the kadai. Your left hand needs, if you're a right-hander, left hand, say you hold the edge, just touch it gently. Understand where the kadai starts, and you will have an idea. Now, all of this requires a lot of practice, slowly. Then lower your other hand, which is holding the puri or the pakoda, as far as you can go. Don't throw it from the top. Don't be scared of burning. It will not burn. And gently release the item into the oil. And then you will hear the sizzling sounds. And whenever the sizzling sound is, take the frying spoon that has got little holes in it. We call it a channi. Take it to that, and then slowly keep your left fingertip touching the edge of the kadhai on the other side, so that you don't run over or you don't splash. Be very patient, be very calm. Listen to the sounds, and then slowly with that right hand, flip the pakoda over. And you will also smell that now the basin has cooked. Raw basin has a different smell, and the cooked basin has a different smell. Once you get that smell, you easily can just take it out, place it on a plate where you have already a tissue or a kitchen paper. It's lined with that, and just that's the way I do it, with all sorts of things. And there is a lot of other things available. There are fryers available there. They are,
you get perforated baskets also available.
Yes,
baskets with hole like a channi. You get those also, that you can dip into the oil with whatever you're frying. I have a few cautionary tips when you're dealing with oil, especially. One thing is that you have to constantly manage the heat of the oil. That is true of whatever cooking you do. Your managing of heat is extremely important. Like Preeti said, initially it gets hot and it smokes and you can feel the heat. You have to, at that point, turn the heat down. You put it in and you turn the heat down. So a good way to manage this is to keep your heat somewhere in the middle, not fully high, not fully low. You keep it at a medium high. And what will happen is that way your whatever, whether it's a puri or it's a pakoda or whatever it is, will not soak excessive oil. So if you, let's say if the oil is like sort of not at the correct temperature, the cooking will be slower, it will not crisp, and it will also soak much more oil than it should. So that is an important thing to sort of note. And also, please be very careful. Never, ever, ever put your face close to the oil. A lot of people, in an anxiety of seeing that's an automatic human reaction, that you move forward to be able to either hear or to smell. Please be very careful. You're dealing with a very, very potent and a very disastrous, medium of cooking, that's hot oil. So these are things you need to be extremely careful about. So I just thought I should let you know.
No, you should. And then there is, when you put a pakoda, ensure your hands are dry. Keep a duster, which you're not worried about. ensure both your hands are dry, and then pick up with your hand and put it into this thing. You can also use a spoon to spoon it into the kadai. So these things, when you deep fry or when you do anything on the fire, remember to be very focused, very conscious, and do it as slowly. There's no way you have to run. You have to do it slowly, no matter who's saying what. Later on, so as you practice, you will be able to come up to that level. Like we do it running here and running there, then we can do it at our speeds. But initially, be very, very cautious. It is a dangerous thing for sighted people as well.
Your next question was about symmetry of vegetables. Vegetable cutting is basically, it's not necessarily an art. It's just something that one gets used to doing, especially when it comes to, things like beans and carrots and things like that. It's a matter of, cutting those first few pieces. People use either a chopping board. Even when you're using a chopping board, my YouTube channel has very, very clear instructions on how the placement of your fingers and the using and the movement of your knife on the chopping board and things like that. I'd suggest that you listen to an episode called Vegetable or Vegetable that has basically got entire information about how to handle vegetables. So basically that's what it is. And it's like a carrot, for instance. You peel a carrot, sometimes they're very long, so you cut it lengthwise into half, and then you sort of cut it further into half. And depending on what size you're looking at cutting, because there are different sizes of vegetable, the first few cuts that you make will be able to tell you what, how well you're performing. And on the basis of that, then you can move ahead with all the other vegetables. The same thing, like, see, with a lot of the greens, for instance, palak and also things like cabbage and things that are leafy, you can actually collect all the leaves, put them together, wash the leaves, then place the leaves one on top of the other. You can just roll them like a rolled paper or a cigarette. Just roll them up and start chopping them from the top. That way you'll get a very even, a whole stack of them that you can roll and then use them, cut them up. Cabbage leaves also, you can do that. You can remove cabbage leaves and do exactly that and cut it. It becomes easier to handle. So these are some few basic tips. The rest, I think, onion and all also. Onion, it's important to leave the top of the onion sometimes, because if you're doing it on a chopping board, you cut off the tail, leave the head, peel it, because that head holds the rest of your onion together, which you can start cutting, chopping, slicing, whatever it is, and later throw the top away as you're doing it. So please listen to the YouTube channel, and you'll be able to find the necessary information there.
Yeah, I've also put the YouTube channel link in the chat window. Rasoi Ke Rahasya, I'm repeating the name. We'll move on to Bhavna. You have a question, Bhavna? Yeah, we can't hear you, Bhavna, although you're unmuted.
No, we can't hear you.
No, we can't hear you. Is it your earphone? Maybe you want to take it off? Bhavna, do you want to take your headphones off and then talk? I mean, you can unplug the earphone from your, you seem to be on your phone. Sorry, Bhavna, we can't still hear you. Can you type your question in? Is there any way you can type your question in? Okay, so while Bhavna figures that out, we'll go to Kavita Desai. Yes, Kavita?
Hello, good evening all. This is Kavita here. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Very nice listening to these two lovely ladies. I can
Thank
say
you.
not even ladies, kitchen queens.
Oh dear. I'm not happy to be called.
And when I heard George today live, so I was feeling nice here listening to all of you all. Here my question is, when we are frying a papad, on gas directly. Usually I can do it, but sometimes I burn the papad somewhere in the side or in between or somewhere. So what is the right way to fry a papad on the
That's
flame?
roasting a papad. Frying is when you put it into oil. When you're doing it on direct flame, it's roasting the papad.
Roasting, sorry.
Yeah,
Sorry.
no worries. I've just thought I should correct you because you'll otherwise get it all confused. So that's why. No
Very
worries.
right.
No worries. So roasting a papad, see the good thing, there are two things. One, of course, you can take the option of roasting it in the microwave oven if you have one. It's a very simple thing to do in the microwave. Otherwise, if you want to do it on the gas stove, what is, do you use a pair of tongs, a chimta or something like that?
Nothing.
To hold
I
it?
just
Yeah.
directly I use my hand.
So see, sometimes with the hand, what happens is that, when it starts getting hot, it becomes a little bit of an issue. So what you can perhaps do is use a chimta, use a pair of tongs, hold the papad from one edge, and you have to keep turning it up and down and keep moving it around. Like dusri taraf se you can use your hand. One hand is holding your papad in the chimta from one corner, and you're flipping it up and down, like you're changing side. From one edge you start, that is on the fire. You do one side and then you turn it over to the other side. Then you come back to that side. So you're doing a constant flip-flop of it, and you're guiding it with your other hand, which is free. You're guiding your papad, you're touching the part that is keeping on getting done, and you're rotating that and moving it. So your chimta is holding another part now. So the trick in not allowing it to burn is basically constantly turning it up and down and moving it around.
And keeping track of the smell that you're getting of it.
No,
That
as you
also, and-
said, I tried it out with chimta, but when I tried it with chimta, sometimes it breaks. So I found that my hand is better
you
than
have to hold
chimta
it. Yeah,
actually.
it is delicate. Yes, it is
Yeah.
delicate. So that is, you
Sure.
also get that, you get a jali also,
Yeah,
like those jalis in which you can roast, you can make rotis, you can do your bengan for bharta and things like that. You can use those. It's like a jali. It's like a wire web that is available with a handle. That you can use that also actually to do. If you find it, you can. It's I don't remember what it's called exactly, but
jali kehte hai usko. You'll get it somewhere. It's square. Sometimes it's round. Sometimes
correct. Yes,
you get it very easily. You can get in
you can use it to even make your pulkas. When you want to
Yeah.
put your pulka from the gas stove, from the tawa, if you want to put it directly on the gas and allow it to cook, you can put it in that also and cook it. So that is perhaps another option that you can
You
look at.
mean we have to keep it on the flame where the flame comes in to keep it on the
Yes,
gas?
the jali sits on the flame. Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Fine.
You know, this papad reminds me of my personal story. I think I was a very young kid and my mom had sent me to do something in the kitchen, and I thought, okay, let me roast a papad. And this was the first time I was doing it, and there was fire all over. And all I was doing was I kept screaming, fire, fire, fire. I didn't even realize that, okay, I should turn the stove off maybe.
Exactly.
And it's very scary. It's
Yeah.
very scary.
It seemed very
because,
scary to a little girl, I can tell you for sure. Okay, Bhavna, I think you figured your audio out. You can unmute once again, please, and see if it works.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Ashik,
No, we can't still hear you, Bhavna. Sorry.
so while Bhavna is still working on the audio, can I ask a quick question, which is,
Yes, please.
one of the aspects of safety is also your clothing and how you tie your hair. Would you like to comment on that?
Absolutely.
you have to. It's always
Those
very
are the basics, I think, of anybody, maybe a visually impaired person. No dupattas, no lehrati hui saris. If you're wearing a sari, tuck it in very firmly, put pins. Try to use a cotton apron. That's the best thing.
Yeah, I very, very highly recommend people using an apron, even if you don't want to use a full apron. That means, there's a bib on top and at the waist, you can just use a half apron that you tie at your waist. So it basically keeps everything in place. Even if you're wearing a dupatta, I always say that there are homes where, families, and there are girls
Ah.
who are married, and there are in-laws, and there are elders, and so they are uncomfortable not wearing a dupatta, or maybe not wearing their sari a particular way. So for them to keep everything in place, it is necessary to keep it all tied down with an apron.
And preferably a cotton apron and not any other material, because aprons come in various materials these days, something that's not flammable.
But sometimes you can't help it. There are people who are generally wearing those clothes. So I'm saying, keeping all that in mind, that there are people who wear different kinds of clothes for different reasons, and for whatever it might be, cover it with an apron.
Yes. And your hair obviously has to, otherwise we'll find hair in all the biryanis and the rotis that we are cooking. So your hair needs to be absolutely clipped up properly so that it's not flowing here and there. So that definitely is a very general thing for everyone.
And long hair, and then you're using for those that are using cloth, the little cloth pieces as pot holders. Be very careful that you have the cloth very tightly, a kitchen napkin or whatever you're using, very tightly folded, so that there are no hanging threads, there is no hanging edge of the cloth. So these are all, your very, very important basics to stay alive in the kitchen. It's a war zone. It's a war zone, the kitchen, as far as I'm concerned.
Absolutely. And keep your nose, absolutely, your smelling sense needs to be extra heightened when you're there. So you can smell the slightest change in the, smell of the kitchen, and there is something right or wrong. So these are basic things that we need to take care of.
Okay, Bhavna has sent us her question. I'm going to read it out. She says that her daughter Sanvi is 6 years old. What is the perfect age to make your child learn cooking? She's asking.
So, Bhavna, may I address that? I think a child should participate in the kitchen with the mother right from when he or she is crawling, playing with katoris, when the mother is doing things. Get used to the kitchen, and you can give atta to them if they're interested. Getting to the fire, I think you need to still wait a little bit. Rolling a roti for you, making the atta for you, helping you clean up. I think from there you can always
understanding the vegetables also.
Yes,
understanding vegetables.
Names and what they taste like, and mirchi, namak, all of that. So gas and knife should come later on. Maybe you can start with a butter knife, which is not very sharp. You can give him atta to cut. How to use the hand so that that knife will not cut, because I remember I myself doing that using a butter knife, which is not sharp at all. And my mom used to give me atta, and I had to roll it up, and she would say, "Kya bisko kato." So that's that much. I think you can already start, and as he progresses, you can just be there. Don't frighten the child. Be there and allow the child to explore. I think it's important.
It's a beautiful exercise in dexterity, in developing a manual dexterity, so that their hands become, more, they can feel better, they can touch better, and things like that. So handling vegetables is a very, very good way of doing that. And atta, of course, like Preeti said, in kneading the dough for atta, thoda sa chai, you give them a little bit, and she can make her own, jaise clay mein khelte hai, waise usi tarah se they can take and make little cups and saucers for themselves out of atta. So.
Okay, thank you guys. Kurat, you have a question? Please go ahead.
Yes, good evening to all.
Good evening.
It's a very lovely session going on.
Good evening.
And I want to ask that somebody asked about the flipping of rotis and omelets. And the discussion took, or the answer all about the rotis, flipping the rotis.
The omelette was
and missed the omelette. And another question is like, for a beginner, what is easier to learn, rolling a roti with a rolling pin or with hands? And being visually impaired, when we roll the roti on rolling pin, we can't judge initially that is the roti turning around or we are just rolling the roti in one direction. So please, some tips on that.
Here they are not very good roti makers, so let me Let me try to answer that a little bit. On the working on the hand with the normal gehu ka atta, sometimes you don't get the right texture. It's always good to start with, when you make the peda, we call it, when you roll the atta in your hand to make a beginning of the roti, that should be completely properly shaped in the proper circle. So once you can do that, a rolling pin is a good idea to start with it. Start slowly, keep on feeling, touching, and I think you would be able to get the roti right, but it is going to take some time. It's really going to take some time. And like atta of bajra and makki, all of that, corn, those are made by hand, and that also takes a lot of practice. So it is just a simple practice game, but you have to start with smaller sizes. The smaller size you take, the easier it will be for you to learn, and then slowly you can develop your own size. So that's about the roti. Payal can help with an omelette.
The simple thing, you don't get a round roti, just make, as long as you get an even sort of a spread of the atta when you're rolling it, do that. Take a lid of any dabba and cut it. You have a perfect round roti. Why should you have to worry about so many things?
Yeah, absolutely.
Simple. So the rest of the atta that is left around there, collect it and get it ready with more atta to make another roti. Simple.
And I don't even bother if somebody cribs about ki this is not a round roti. Then I said, fine, then go and make it yourself. So nobody complains.
So sometimes it's just, especially when people are so hassled about the round roti, which is the story of every Indian home that makes a roti, that, round puli roti means it's almost as if a girl won't get married if she doesn't know how to make a round roti. She won't be accepted anywhere socially if her roti is not round and is not, pulaying properly.
लगता है कि ऑमलेट फिर छूट गया.
नहीं, मैं अभी ऑमलेट पे आ रही हूँ, लेकिन let me tell you, both Payal and I, we are very accepted in our homes and in our society, even if we don't make round rotis. So feel reassured.
What the heck? Really, I don't care. It doesn't matter. As long as my roti puffs up, as long as you're getting a roti to eat, you just eat it. Really.
Absolutely. So the omelette, I think the omelette thing is very simple. You cook it on one side, then slide it off into a plate. We did that last night. Slide it onto a plate, then cover the plate on which you have slit the omelette, cover it, flip it over into another plate, and then slide this ulta omelette, the uncooked side, into the fry pan, and then cook it. So that is a simple way to do it.
That's interesting. Bhavna put in a follow-up comment. I'm just going to quickly read out that her daughter is very much interested in preparing Maggi, etc., with her elder sister, but she's afraid to allow her.
Slowly, you see, because she's 6, I think you should not discourage your 6-year-old. I think with strict supervision and encouragement, giving the proper knowledge to the child, this can burn your finger. This is how you need to do it step by step. Breaking it down into small steps is something that she can help, open the Maggi packet, take out the Maggi from there, help the sister. So allow her to help. And keep telling her and speak a lot, convert into words that whatever is happening, along with, directing her, but continue to speak all the time while she's in the kitchen and trying to help, so that she continues to follow those instructions.
Sure. A lot of people have obviously, thanked us for organizing this wonderful session. There are a lot of appreciatory comments for both of you, and also asking for your contacts and how they could get to join some of these WhatsApp groups.
Just Google my name, and my phone number is everywhere. Just send me a WhatsApp on that. I'm very easily found. It's PREETIMONGA, Preeti Monga. Just Google my name, you'll find my number everywhere. So feel free. Otherwise, call iWay. They will give you my number happily.
The Rasoi Ke Rahasya can be found there also. We are on Facebook, we are on Instagram. So if for those who are using social media, you can do that. And if you want to be part of the WhatsApp group and things like that, I think they can perhaps write. We can probably share Avinash's number, Shruti.
Yeah.
At some point, Avinash Shahi's phone number. So because he's the person admin of the group, of the WhatsApp, blind friendly WhatsApp group. And he's the one who lets people in. So
Okay, sure. We'll note that and we'll ask.
Yeah.
We'll do that. We'll share his number. Any other
Hi.
questions, anyone? Yeah. Yes.
Hi, ladies. So, hi. Thank you
Hi.
so much. Really enjoying the session, although I don't get into the kitchen much. Following up on the idea of having a round roti, just trying to apply my engineering mind to it. Is it, see, in South India, you get these things called thalis. I'm sure you get them everywhere else also. Some of the thalis come with a sharper edge instead of a rounded edge. So even after rolling the roti to whatever shape you have rolled it, is it possible to just use that thali to, cut it? Like, for example,
You can use anything if you so choose. You have not made rotis every day of your life, so that's why you're asking that question. Otherwise, you would be like Payal and me. The roti should be cooked well, it should puff up, and that's it.
And if you don't like it round, go to the nearest dhaba and have your dinner.
Absolutely.
and then ask George. George has
complain to
all the answers.
Don't complain to the kitchen queen.
Yeah, don't complain because otherwise you'll have to cook yourself.
Very true. Very true.
We are
Thank you
very
so much.
happy. Thank you. We are very happy sitting down and being fed.
Aren't you all? Yes.
Absolutely.
Okay. Are there any questions on Facebook, Shabnam? You might want to take a last check again. And I don't see any questions here.
I did. There are no questions. No.
Okay, but yeah, this is like, we've got a lot of comments. I have not been able to read out some of them, but largely appreciating both of you and the work you're doing. The confidence you've given them today through your talk.
That's
I just have one question.
Yeah.
It is a universal question, you could say. I just want to know how important is meal prepping, because I love cooking too, but sometimes, the whole monotony of it gets to you. And, when you're working and then you got to come home and then you have to spend time in the kitchen. I mean, it goes for everyone, whether you're sighted, you're visually impaired, managing that time. And how important is meal prepping?
very important. You need to plan. If you
It's,
plan,
when I say plan, see what is very simple to do is whenever you buy your vegetables, whatever day, if you choose a holiday when you're buying your vegetables, it's always a fabulous idea to, especially those that you can process, to cut, chop, peel, do whatever you can and stick them in the fridge. I found that extremely useful. So just cut up however you use them. Now, everywhere, like potatoes, you cannot cut, onions, you will not cut, tomatoes, you don't need to cut. So, but the other vegetables that you need to do, let's say you have some greens, cut up your greens and put them in. If you're somebody who's making, a puree, make your puree, stick them in the freezer. If you're making a gravy, if you're a gravy maker, then use onion, tomatoes, ginger, garlic, mix it all up in the mixie, put a little bit of oil, cook it up, dry it up, basically. Don't even really need to cook it, dehydrate it in your, in a kadai, in a pan, put it into a box, put it into the freezer, put small portions of it if you'd like. So this way, what happens is that you have things ready in your head. You know that you have XYZ vegetables, your cabbage is cut, your cauliflower is in floret sitting in a container. So you have an idea that I have these vegetables, and that's more than half the job done, because the minute you have a gravy ready, you have things cut and chopped and kept. It's a matter of getting it all out and putting it together.
absolutely, absolutely. So planning and doing as much as possible, on all edges, I think works. You can make your atta and keep it for 3 days. It lasts you. So all those little things, I think, add up, and we're good to go.
I used to not do so much of freezing at one point in time. I didn't do that. But since the lockdown happened and things, I've started realizing I used to always find it very tedious to first put it in the freezer, then take it out, thaw it, all that. It seemed like too much of a job. But now today I realize if I have things put into the freezer, then at next morning when you decide you're going to be using one of the containers from the freezer for something, just bring it down from the freezer into your fridge. So the thawing begins. So in the morning, as soon as you wake up and you put it out, and by the time you're ready to cook, your thaw is almost done. So especially in this kind of weather. And for a lot of your vegetables, I've recently done methods of cooking in which I tell you how to blanch your vegetables. So once your vegetables are blanched, all you need to do is put them in the freezer and they can straight away go into cooking. So it's a lot of work that is taken off of your shoulders when it means that you're just putting things together and not having to start prepping from scratch.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Great. Thank you. Thank you so much.
All right. I guess all good things have to come to an end.
Absolutely.
So does this session, and I'm feeling hungry already.
So when are you making your next aloo parathas, Preeti?
You say the word, it shall be done right now. Although I'm making, the black chanas tonight. आपको आलू के पराठे खिला देंगे साथ में.
George is going to make the coffee, okay?
Yeah. Not that.
No problems, no worries, as they say in Australia.
Absolutely, and scrambled eggs.
And scrambled eggs, yeah.
Nice, it is good. I think
it's great.
An important life skill, really. I think a lot of people just seem to think it's not necessary, whether it's men or women.
Yeah.
The lockdown has clearly busted that myth.
I think so. I think it has. It truly has. There's a new world order over there of men who are actively cooking also, because there's no one to cook for them at that point in time.
Absolutely.
Nature has its way of teaching them, right?
No, honestly, and there are some such good cooks. I mean, even I've heard from so many of the boys, like even if they cook one thing, it's a matter of such pride to think that they were able to get that right. So
absolutely.
Yeah. Well, thank you, both of you. And we will share your contacts once if people reach out to us, like you said. And yes, Payal, we'll take you up on that about connecting Rasoi Ke Rahasya and IWay and using it as a channel.
Please.
So that more people.
You can link the YouTube channel, the podcast. You can link the page because they can have questions. Would you like me to send you the link to the page, direct link to the page and all of them? I have the direct links. Should I just send them to you on WhatsApp?
Sure. And then we can take it further from there.
Done. Okay. That works. I'll do that.
Thank you once again.
Thanks so much. Thanks.
And thanks for having us. Thanks for having both of us. I think we enjoyed the session as much as
absolutely
everybody else. We had so much fun. It was a very relaxing and a wonderful afternoon. And phir kab milenge types.
Yeah.
Thanks, George.
Thank you.
So
pleasure is ours. It was always a pleasure as usual.
Thank you.
Talk to you soon. Yeah. Bye.
Bye. Bye.